It's this beautiful design featuring a diamond in the middle. On this video, I'll teach you how to do the diamond square. I'll be using a 6mm hook and some Wool Ease Thick and Quick by Lion brand in 2 different colors. This yarn is incredibly soft and quick to work with. They have this stunning colorway called Hudson's Bay that blends blue, red, and yellow stripes and gives your product a fun twist. Wow. Get yours with the link below. Alright, so for this design, we're going to start by creating a magic circle with our color A. So the way that I do that is, if I'm holding my yarn as if I'm ready to crochet, I'm just going to fold it and create a loop like this. Grab my hook and insert it into the loop. Grab the yarn and pull it through. And from here, chain 1. That's going to secure the circle. I'm going to let go of it now so it unfolds. And then this is where we're going to work into. Then you'll be able to adjust it by pulling on the tail. So we're going to begin by chaining 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to do 2 double crochets. So we do 1 and 2. Now we're going to chain 2. And now we're going to start the repeat. The repeat starts by doing 3 double crochets and then a chain 2. And you want to do that 3 times. So let's do it together. 3 double crochets into the ring. That is 1, 2. Just grab more yarn here. And 3. Oops, sorry guys. And then a chain 2. So there you have it. Let's do this twice more. I can actually pull on the circle a little bit to close it. Or pull on the tail, I mean, to close the circle. Let's do that twice more. We want 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, and now a chain 2. Now I want this once again, 3 double crochets into the circle. 1, 2, and 3. No, and that keeps happening. And now I'm just going to close the circle completely. I'm going to pull the tail a little tighter to just close that off even more. And from here we chain 2. And now you're going to have a square. So those groups of 3 double crochets and chain 2s create the 4 sides that you need. So to finish off this row, we're just going to do a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 that you started with. So here we have a chain 3 and 2 double crochets. Into the top of that chain 3, insert your hook and do a slip stitch. Now we've got the square complete. Let's move on to row 2 with the same color. You're going to chain 2. And now into the next chain 2 space, you're going to work the following. So we're working 2 double crochets into the corner chain 2 space, 2 double crochets. That's 1 and 2. Now you're going to work a treble crochet. So yarn over twice into that same space, pull up a loop, and now pull through 2 at a time. Now we chain 1. Into the same chain space, you're going to do another treble crochet. And into the same chain space, you're going to work 2 double crochets. So that is 1, and into the same space, 2. And this is going to give you the peak of the diamond. like one of the peaks of the diamond. Moving on, we're going to be doing a half double crochet into the spaces between the double crochets of this group. So in this group, you have 3 double crochets. You're going to go in between them and create half double crochets. So you're not going onto the top of the stitch. Instead, you're going to go in the space between the stitches. So the first one is going to be a half double crochet. And the next one as well, going into the space between the stitches. Half double crochet. There we go. And now we're going to do the same repetition that we did here on the next chain 2 space. So the repeat for the chain spaces is 2 double crochets. Then a treble crochet. Yarn over twice and do 1 treble crochet. Then a chain 1 into the same space, a treble crochet. And into the same space, 2 double crochets. Okay, and now you've done that next peak there. Now we're going to do the 2 half double crochets in between the stitches. So find the space between the next 2 double crochets and do a half double crochet. And do that once again. Between the next 2 double crochets, a half double crochet. And there we go. Now we want to do that same repetition. I'm going to do this one off camera. Into the chain space, I'm doing 2 double crochets, 1 treble crochet, a chain 1, 1 treble crochet, and 2 double crochets. The same repetition you did twice already. And I'll see you when you're done that. Okay, now we're just going to do the half double crochets in between the spaces of the next 2 stitches. So half double crochet there. And half double crochet in between the next 2 double crochets. Okay, now that's the 3rd peak of the diamond. I'm calling it peak, but like the side of the diamond. We've got 1 more to go. I'm going to do that off camera again. Into the chain space, do the same repetition for the peak, and I'll see you when you're done. Okay, I just did the final peak here. So now what I want to show you is that at the beginning of this row, you started with a chain 2, which counts as a half double crochet, but we still need 1 more half double crochet here. So you're going to go and on the previous row here, you have the group of 3 double crochets. The first one is the chain 3 that you started with. So between that chain 3 and the first double crochet of the previous row, we're going to work a half double crochet. So yarn over. Go into that spot between those 2 stitches and complete a half double crochet. And now all we want to do is do a slip stitch to the top of the chain 2 that you began this row with. Currently it's kind of hiding in between this stitch, so I'm just going to pull it with my fingers a little bit so you can see. Here's my chain 2 that I began this row with. So into the top of there, like the second chain, I'm doing a slip stitch. Now this here is the end of row 2. Okay, so I've created a slip knot with my color B, and we're going to incorporate it into one of the chain 1 spaces. So grab your hook, now through the slip knot and bring it through. So for row 3 here, we're actually going to be working in between the stitches. So every stitch that you do is going to go between the stitches of the previous row. So for this chain 1 space, we're going to chain 1 here to begin row 3. And into the same chain 1 space, you want 1 single crochet. Now in between the next 2 stitches, you're going to work a half double crochet. In between the next 2 stitches, a double crochet. In between the next 2 stitches, you want 2 treble crochets. So yarn over twice, between the next 2 stitches, two trebles into the same spot. And now the next one here is the one that has the slip stitch of the previous row. So this one's going to be a bit trickier. I'm actually going to go into the top of the stitch for this one. Every single side after that should be easier, but this is the spot that gets a little bit trickier. So I'm just going to go into the actual stitch, which is where I did my slip stitch into. Here we want a double treble crochet. So you're going to yarn over 3 times for that. Insert your hook into the stitch and yarn over, pull through 2 loops at a time to create a double treble crochet, which is the tallest stitch. Then we chain 2, and into the same spot you want another double treble crochet. Yarn over 3 times into that spot, complete your stitch. Okay, now we want to continue going back between the stitches. So I'm going to go between the chain 2 that I just went into and the next double crochet. There's a spot here. In between those 2 stitches, I'm doing 2 treble crochets. So that is 1 and 2. Between the next 2 stitches, you want to do a double crochet. Between the next 2 stitches, you want a half double crochet. And that there finishes the repeat, which is one of the sides of the square. So let me do it once again with you. The repeat starts by finding the next chain 1 space and doing a single crochet into it. Moving forward, we're going to be working in between the stitches of the previous row. And into the first space, we want a half double crochet. Into the next space between stitches, a double crochet. Into the next one, 2 treble crochets. Into the same spot. This is my second one. Into the next space between stitches, you want a double treble crochet. So yarn over 3 times and complete your stitch there. Then a chain 2, and into the same spot, another double treble crochet, yarning over 3 times. Okay. Into the next space between stitches, 2 treble crochets. So just yarning over twice. Into the next space between stitches, a double crochet. And into the next space between stitches, which is the last one here, you do a half double crochet. Okay, and now that is my second side of the square. Look how beautiful this looks with the yarn changing color. Kind of perfectly, actually. That is not on purpose. And so yeah, now you have the second side of the square. You need to repeat that 2 more times. So you'd go back to the beginning of the repeat by doing the single crochet into the chain 1 space, then doing that repetition in between stitches all the way on the side until you get to the next chain 1 space where you'll begin your repeat again. So I'm just going to do that off camera. I'm going to do up until I'm about to close this off so we can do that together. I'll see you when I'm there. Okay, I just went all the way around and I just did my last half double crochet into the last 2, like the last space between the last 2 stitches. And now we can close this off by doing a slip stitch to the first stitch that you made. Into there, insert your hook and just do a slip stitch. Now this here is the end of row 3. Row 4 is going to be one more row to kind of clean up the square. So from here you can go ahead and chain 3, which will count as a double crochet. And we just want to do double crochets into each stitch all the way around, with the exception of the corner. We'll do something a little bit different. So just do a double crochet into each stitch all the way down. We're skipping the first one because the chain 3 counts as a double crochet for that. So into the second stitch, do a double crochet. Into the next one as well, all the way to the corner. 1 double crochet per stitch. Okay. Once at the corner, we're just going to do a double crochet around the chain space. A chain 2. Into the same corner, another double crochet. And that's what you want to do to maintain the corner. And then now you do your double crochets into each stitch all the way down. So let me count these stitches here. Pull this up. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So you should have 11 stitches on each side and then the corner. So you're going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch for a total of 11 double crochets. Then at the corner, we do 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet into the same space all the way around. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll meet you when we're almost at the end here just to close this and finish it off together. Okay, I just did my last corner here, and then the double crochets that should go into each of the stitches. So now to finish this off, we're going to do a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 that you started with. Insert your hook into that 3rd chain and then close it off with a slip stitch. Now you can go ahead and cut off your yarn and thread your ends through. Okay, look how stunning this is. I want to get it closer to you. This is going to be large. It's a bit bigger for me because of the yarn that I used, because it's thick, but it looks super beautiful with that blue in the middle. And then the outsides, I use that yarn that kind of changes color, so it adds a really beautiful effect. If you're just using solid yarn, then you'll see, something different. The diamond might be a bit more predominant if it's kind of facing or against another solid color, but super duper cute and a different square. Because of the yarn that I use, I feel like my square could use a little bit of blocking to make it a bit flatter, but all in all, super duper stunning. Hey, while you're at it, why don't you just subscribe to my channel? Just do it. Just do it.